Hello. It's been the first time in a few months that I've seen you, and so I'm very joyful to be here today. I'm very happy. True parents of heaven, earth, and humanity have completed their tour of Europe and the United States, and they're assembly for Cosmic Sabbath and for the Declaration Word by God's Substantial Self. And they'll be returning to Korea this afternoon. But I'm very honored to be able to address you today. I think already you have seen the videos and the photographs of our true parents tours of Europe and the United States. And through the Europe, we were able to, the international president and I were able to attend our true parents directly, and we felt many things. And of course, we felt very much the true parents, the true father's greatness. And every time there was an assembly, and every time there was an event, a father would read his manuscript and would read that and would also told us this, that he said that I've read this manuscript so many times. Can you imagine how many times I've read it? And yet, still, every time I read it again, I find something new. This is what Father said. And so Father, in this way, in his daily life, he considers the Word of God so precious, and he delves into it even more deeply. And so I wonder myself how much I'm able to match my level of heart and spirituality with Father's. And also, a Father really transcending a human ability. He even does work, stays up late until night, and even all night, and for hours and hours he will. Praying, and even at Hundoke he goes on for hours. Really, he is a person who transcends a time in that way. And also a true mother who is always beside Father. I really understand her greatness. And so this time, as I watched a true mother. Of course, we've heard many things about True Father, but we don't have all that many opportunities to be with a True Mother. And so today, I'd like to testify especially about a True Mother to you, and so that is I'd like to use that opportunity today. In the autobiography of Father, I think you know what has been said about the mother there. And Mother's almost 70 years old now, and I cannot cover all that time in just this a short 30-minute time period. But I would like to just go through 3 paragraphs and base my testimony on that. And I've seen our true mother very often, but if that's wonder what. I think maybe you wonder about her internal life, and I'd like to discuss a little bit of that today. Okay. So, all that desire, I'd like to tell you of one story about a true mother situation, and the title of today's sermon is the Mother of the Cosmos and My Mother. And first, a true mother is a person who is really tends a father, and she loves true children so much, and she loves the members so much. I'd like to look at the mother's 3 aspects in this way. One senior member, a sister, told me about this. I think she said she was about 30 years old at the time. She told me the story. And she said that until then she had been looking at Mother from a distance and seeing her from a distance, and she, seeing her from a distance, felt very envious of Mother, really jealous of Mother. It would really must be wonderful to be Mother, she thought. And she had been thinking this way about Mother for a long time. For several years as she was in the church, and then she had a dream, and in her dream Mother appeared, and Father was there, and Father was in a large assembly and a large event, and the venue was filled with women and sisters, and Father was speaking to those members who were there, and after this is the word. All the members were leaving, and True Mother called her. This sister was about to leave also in the dream, but the mother called her to herself, and she took the sister's hand and said, actually, she said, I'm really a lonely person, and really it's very difficult for me, Mother said in this person's dream. And after she woke up from that dream, this person realized that her thinking, the way that she had been thinking of her mother was not correct, and that she had been thinking of her mother in a wrong way. She repented, and she realized that she should not just be looking at the external, how externally mother is seen, but also look more at mother's internal life. And she told me about this. First, I said the first aspect of mother, I was to talk about true mother, how true mother attends father. And if we look at the Cheonsonggyong on the page 44, it says this as follows: and that if the omniscient and omnipresent, all-powerful God, if he were invisible, he could even destroy a mountain, or even he could even open a hole in the earth. But if that person, if you'll be able to see that person, that God, do you think that you'll be able to withstand that? You could endure that. It's very good. It's a good thing that you cannot see God. If you could see God, then we would all come down with mental disease, Father says in the Cheonsonggyong. But imagine, though, that the Father now is the substantial self of God, and Mother is attending that Father, so you can understand how a mother's life might be. And so among you who are here today, I'm sure many of you have participated in Hundoke with true parents, and even to participate. So actually, when you just to participate in Hundoke one time, it makes you so tired and fatigued. But Mother's been with Father like that for 50 years every day, and so the true Mother is really has been prepared by heaven, and she was a third generation Christian family. And at the age of 17 years, she received the holy blessing with a true mother. And she and her mother, Mrs. Hongsune, had to break the relationships with all their relatives, and had to just focus purely on Father, and to follow Father only. And so even after the holy wedding and the early church, to a true mother, lived in a member's home for 3 years, and she had to go through that course of indemnity, and even after that she had to stay in a room that was not properly heated, and this is detailed in the autobiography of Father. Even now, in the private apartment of true parents, when the Father is tired, then he will lay his head on true mother's lap, and then Mother will cut his fingernails and do other things for him. And then in the autobiography, Father jokes that I cannot see my own toenails, but Mother can. And so this is a photograph of Mother and Father when they were young. But even now, the true Mother also cuts a true Father's toenails. And this photograph is a true Mother cutting a Father's hair fairly recently. And then true Mother, this is a very artistic and loving photograph you see. So when she cuts his hair, and also she dyes his hair sometimes, and Mother does that directly for Father. And so let's give Mother a round of applause for this. Thank you very much. And secondly, I want to talk about how much a mother loves true children. And in the autobiography on page 227, it says as follows: she gave birth to 14 children, and she raised them up, and she talks about that for 20 years. Having 14 children in 20 years must have been very difficult for her, but she has never complained. And sometimes members wrote me saying that they were concerned about her nutritional situation, but she never complained even in that kind of situation. This is what the autobiography says. Especially the final 4 children were all born by cesarean section within the 5 years. And At that time, it was said that if one child was born by cesarean section, then all the remaining children had to be born in the same way, it was said. And so to give birth to 4 children that way in 5 years by cesarean section, it was how she had to do it. And mother really put her life on the line, and in order to have the proper number of true children for providential purposes. And this was in the United States, and the doctor was not a member, and so the doctor said to True Father, this is putting the life of the mother in danger. And so and the doctor even said that Father was a barbarian. He says, I'm sorry to use such an expression, but and the doctor says, I cannot do this. And so mother had to find another doctor to help her give birth to the remaining children. But even in that kind of situation, mother was determined to fulfill her mission as the true mother, and her providential mission to fulfill that. And when she was overseas in other countries, even though she was busy, she still bought postcards and to sent them to the true children. And whenever it was birthday of one of the two children, then she would write words of blessing to the children and to take it to Father, and then the father would write the name of the child in Chinese characters, and then the date, and give Father's blessing is there as well. And then she was also calling the children on the telephone as well. And so, and unfortunately, mother had to send 4 children to the spirit world before herself, and 3 sons and 1 daughter, Hye-jin-nim. Hye-jin-nim actually, within a few days after birth, went to the spirit world. But these 4 children went to the spirit world before herself, and this was truly a cross that she bore. And but that Father said that these children were sacrifices and placed on the altar, and so we must not shed tears for them, because to shed tears for the sacrifice would detract from their value as a sacrifice. And so True Mother could not cry and weep as she might wanted to, and so, but that is how she had to experience the death of the 4 children. One time, she saw that a photograph of one of the children, of a child who had gone to spirit world, was hanging on the wall, and she said to the person, she said, when Hung-jin went to the spirit world, in just a few days I got rid of all his things, and she comforted that person, that mother, in the same way. The international president also said that mentioned he said that he lost a brother, older brother whom he loved, but mother lost a son. But this is referring to when Yeon-jin-nim went to the spirit world, and she called Kuk-jin-nim and Hyung-jin-nim, and mother simply said, Yeon-jin has gone, and so you also need to prepare your hearts. And she spoke to them, spoke to them in a very quiet way, and that was very, and the international president remembers that very strongly. This time at the event centering on the Hoover Dam at the Las Vegas, so there was there were many true children attending that event, and perhaps the most children that have ever gathered one place recently, and they came to the Las Vegas event, and they expressed their concern for true parents' safety and health, and as I saw them there sitting together, so all these true children, I thought it was wonderful to see so many children together, and how wonderful it was.